2 words. That's all it took to end a 75-year alliance. Israel delivered a message to Britain so sharp, so final, that Prime Minister Starmer's entire government went into emergency lockdown within minutes. No diplomacy. No back-channel talks. Just 2 words that flipped the balance of global power overnight. Game over. That was the message that hit the British Embassy in Tel Aviv late last night. And before you assume this is just another short-lived political feud, let me stop you right there. What you're about to hear impacts every Western nation, every intelligence network, and maybe even your own country's security. So hit that subscribe button right now because this story is moving faster than any government can contain. Here's exactly how it unfolded. After Britain officially recognized Palestine as an independent state last week, the world waited to see how Israel would respond. Maybe a diplomatic statement, maybe a bit of UN posturing, right?
Wrong.
Israel skipped the theatrics and sent a private cable straight to the British Embassy containing only those 2 words, game over. No explanation. No ambiguity. Then came the shockwave. Within hours, Israel froze all counterterrorism intelligence sharing with the United Kingdom. Let that sink in. The vital pipeline that tracks extremist cells, monitors terror funding, and prevents attacks before they happen, shut off. Instantly. No warning, no debate, just done. Inside number 10, Downing Street, pandemonium broke out. Sources inside Westminster say senior ministers began canceling appearances almost immediately. Emergency briefings were held, and by midnight the Prime Minister's office was in full crisis mode, security advisors, MI6 chiefs, and cabinet officials scrambling to understand what had just detonated and what might come next. One insider described the mood in a single word: panic. Ministers clashed behind closed doors, some urging Starmer to issue an immediate public apology to repair the damage, others insisting he hold firm, warning that retreat now would make Britain look weak on the world stage. The Foreign Secretary reportedly spent hours calling European counterparts, trying to assess who would actually stand with Britain if things spiraled further. And that's where the story turns darker. MI6 and GCHQ, the twin pillars of Britain's intelligence power, are now in crisis. Without Israel's cooperation, the UK has effectively gone blind across the Middle East. Israel's intelligence network is legendary, its reach unmatched. Their infiltration of terrorist networks, their real-time tracking systems, their deep web of human informants, Britain depended on all of it. And now it's gone. One MI6 source, speaking under strict anonymity, called the situation a national security nightmare. No exaggeration. No political theater. Those were his exact words. National security nightmare. Because this isn't about bruised egos or diplomatic fallout. This is about British citizens possibly facing greater danger because the intelligence stream that helped stop attacks has just been severed. And Israel wasn't done sending its message. Within hours, the Israeli Foreign Ministry issued a statement deliberately designed to echo through every Western capital. Quote, "The United Kingdom has chosen sides. History will remember its decision." That single sentence did more damage than a 1,000-page diplomatic complaint ever could. Markets reacted instantly. The pound slipped against major currencies. Middle Eastern oil futures surged. Global investors began asking the same chilling question. Did Britain just turn itself into a diplomatic outcast? But hold on, because there's another twist that could explode into one of the biggest political scandals in modern British history. According to leaked diplomatic intelligence, corroborated by multiple independent sources, Israel is preparing to release declassified documents. Documents that allegedly reveal covert meetings between senior Labour Party officials and Palestinian leaders that occurred before Britain publicly recognized Palestine. Let that sink in. If those files are authentic, and if they show what Israel says they do, then Starmer's recognition of Palestine wasn't a bold moral stance. It was a prearranged performance. A coordinated maneuver plotted in secret with Palestinian representatives. The fallout from that could be catastrophic. Conservative MPs are already circling, sharpening their knives. Opposition leaders are throwing around words like betrayal, deception, and national security scandal in the same breath. Calls for a full parliamentary inquiry are growing louder by the hour. Some are even comparing it to the Iraq dossier controversy, calling it potentially the deepest breach of public trust in decades. And here's the real kicker. Even inside Labour, whispers of a cabinet mutiny are spreading fast. One government insider told reporters that during an emergency briefing, Starmer looked visibly shaken. Quote, "You could see it on his face." He knew this isn't just foreign policy anymore. This is political survival. And that's not an exaggeration. Because if those Israeli documents go public, and if they confirm secret coordination, Starmer's government could crumble within weeks. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, Washington is livid. Unnamed State Department officials have begun leaking to U.S. media outlets, and their message couldn't be clearer. We warned them this would happen. Reports, still unofficial but coming from multiple credible channels, suggest Washington may quietly retaliate by sidelining Britain from key defense contracts. That means billions of pounds in trade, next-generation weapons tech, and joint operations suddenly hanging in the balance. The famed special relationship between the US and UK, the alliance forged in World War II, appears to be cracking in real time. But here's the unexpected twist, the move nobody predicted. This is where the geopolitical chessboard flips. Instead of leaving Britain isolated, Israel's hardline game over message may have triggered the exact opposite reaction. Spain just announced it's fast-tracking its own recognition of Palestine. Ireland's foreign minister publicly defended Britain's decision and hinted his nation will follow. Even France, famous for playing both sides of every Middle East dispute, let advisors leak that Paris will not be intimidated by threats. And perhaps the biggest shock, the United Arab Emirates, one of Israel's closest regional partners, unveiled a £5 billion green energy pact with the UK right in the middle of this crisis. That wasn't coincidence. It was a calculated signal from the Arab world that they're backing Britain's gamble. Translation: maybe it's time the West stopped reading from the same old script. What we're witnessing isn't simply Britain versus Israel. It could be the opening move in a massive global alliance reshuffle. And incredibly, it all began with just 2 words. Back home, Britain itself is tearing in half. Social media has become a digital battlefield. Hashtags like #GameOverUK and #StandWithStarmer are trending at the same time. Half the country calls him a traitor who's jeopardized national security for political points. The other half hails him as a visionary who finally gave Britain an independent foreign policy instead of marching to Washington's drumbeat. But here's the statistic every lawmaker should notice. A new poll, conducted within 48 hours of Israel's message, shows 61% of British voters say the UK should not apologize to Israel. That number isn't shrinking, it's rising. Maybe the public sees what the politicians can't. Maybe they're done being America's junior partner. Maybe, just maybe, they want to see their nation act like a true global power for once. So, what does game over actually mean in practice? Is this a temporary diplomatic freeze that will thaw with time, or the start of something far more dangerous lurking beneath the surface? Intelligence analysts are already warning of potential cyber retaliation. Overnight, Britain's defense and government networks began experiencing mysterious technical glitches, systems dropping offline, strange access attempts, erratic data traffic patterns. Coincidence? Maybe. But after a message like game over, nothing really feels like coincidence anymore. Israel's cyber capabilities are legendary, among the most advanced on the planet. If they wanted to deliver a digital warning, they could easily do it without leaving a single trace. And here's the part that should keep every world leader awake tonight. This crisis is no longer just about Britain and Israel. Every Western capital is now facing the same impossible choice. Recognize Palestine and risk Israeli retaliation, intelligence blackouts, and Washington's quiet anger. Or stay silent and watch your own citizens lose faith in your moral credibility, while the Arab world questions whether you're capable of independent thought. With just 2 words, Israel didn't just speak to Britain. It spoke to the entire world. The message was simple: loyalty has a price. Defiance has consequences. But here's the twist: they may have overplayed their hand. Because across Europe and the Middle East, Governments are watching Britain stand alone under fire, and some are starting to think that maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop letting fear dictate foreign policy. This isn't diplomacy anymore. It's a high-stakes poker game played with oil, weapons, intelligence, and the lives of ordinary people who have no seat at the table. And Britain? It just went all in, holding a hand that could either win everything or lose it all. So, here's the million-pound question. Did Keir Starmer just commit political suicide, or did he unintentionally light the fuse for a global realignment of power? Because if Spain, Ireland, France, and others follow Britain's lead, the balance of the Middle East won't just shift, it'll collapse and rebuild itself from the ground up. And that two-word message? It wasn't meant for Britain alone. It was aimed at every ally watching from the sidelines, every nation weighing its next move, every leader debating whether they have the courage or the recklessness to do what Britain just did. The next 72 hours are everything. Intelligence agencies are on full alert. Diplomatic hotlines are burning with emergency calls. And somewhere in Tel Aviv and London, top officials are running simulations, scenarios that range from quiet reconciliation to something far, far more serious. So, what do you think happens next? Does Britain back down to save its alliances? Or does this spark a chain reaction that rewrites global history? Drop your thoughts below. And if you want to stay ahead of this story as it unfolds, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because trust me, this is nowhere near over. This is a geopolitical earthquake unfolding in real time. And you're watching it happen.